Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Williamson, at Williamson NFL. The 2025 NFL Draft is in the books. And I assume, I hope you listen to the Harmon podcast. I hope you listen to the Caleb Johnson podcast. Both were pretty darn glowing. And right now, I just got home from the Steelers facility. We covered the every pick, every minute, even an hour before of the entire draft, like I do every year. Not to brag, but I was the only analyst on for every one of them. And so everyone else came shifting in and out like hockey lines, except for me, which I take as a great compliment. And it's a blast, but I am exhausted. I really am. My brain is fried. You do that much radio over and over and over, as much as you love it, it just takes a lot out of you. So what we're going to do today: Sawyer, Black, Howard, Bruner, Kent. I'm going to give you a little thumbnail on them, and then I'm sure we'll come back next week and dig in all this things deeper. I always joke, that it's not really a joke, though. I mean, like when the Steelers drafted Washington and Rudolph from Oklahoma State, that makes their transition to the league easier. I mean, even if they're not best friends, it's like, or play the same position. In that case, you could be like, hey, Mason, what did we call this route at Oklahoma State? Oh, we called it this, but they call it that. Or, man, this area of the country is a heck of a lot different. Or, man, this Cam Hayward dude's pretty cool. But anyway, 2 Iowa guys, 2 Ohio State guys. And I always joke, hey, they can room together in St. Vincent's. They can get to know each other. But let's start with Ohio State edge rusher Jack Sawyer. Now, leading into the draft, his name was everywhere. He's Ohio State. He made the huge play, blah, 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 and you see him late first round, top 50 on everyone's list. And I kind of scoffed at that. I laughed at that, to be honest. I don't see him in that light. But they got him mid to late 4th round. Fine. I didn't think they would get an edge rusher. But the more I thought it through, here's the conclusion I came with Sawyer. First, I don't think he's a particularly great athlete. Frankly, he's not the, best hustle guy I ever saw guy either. I mean, like everyone else, he takes plays off too. I mean, let's just say there's a little stereotyping going on there. He's got short arms, but he's big, he's physical, he is a bull rush guy, he's good against the run. And originally I thought, man, if they draft an edge in a really good edge class, that has something to do with it. Maybe he fell a little bit more because of that. But again, I think he's a 3rd, 4th round pick, not a 1-2. But there were so many of them, they're going to fall a little bit. And I thought if they take an edge, it's going to only be 7th round, special teamer, fight with Moon for that spot, blah, blah, blah. But the more I thought through it, I thought, boy, it was weird when they traded for Preston Smith at the trade deadline last year. Preston Smith doesn't look anything like Nick Herbig. Preston Smith's big and can bump inside and rush the passer, which I don't know if Sawyer can or ever will, but maybe. I mean, he's a lot bigger than Herbig. And my thought was, first of all, you never want to be bad at edge rusher in this defense. Fine. Keep a strength to strength. Keep bringing guys down the pipeline. Although he's not an edge bender or a dynamic pass rusher, dip and rip and change directions. He's a physical run through you guy. But where I'm going with Preston Smith is, first of all, you play the Ravens twice, and their running game is an absolute freaking nightmare to stop. So big physical edge setters against Lamar is useful. But the other thing is, if Watt or Highsmith misses any time, I don't want Herbig to be an every down player. If Preston Smith and Sawyer walk in the room, you're like, oh, it's a big physical 4-3 defensive end. If Herbig walks in with them, they're like, who's that little guy? And Herbig's way better than those dudes. But I think less of Herbig is more. And if you have Watt or Highsmith hurt, I want Sawyer to be my banger, Herbig to be my finisher. You know what I mean? Sawyer's your inning eater. Herbig, I need fresh to come out of the bullpen and put teams away with Rob Dibble fastballs. That dates me in the baseball world. So I kind of understand it. That's the pick I like least, to be very honest, from the Steelers. Because I I'm fine with Sawyer at this point. I don't love the player, but it took me a while to see the vision. He also, of course, I would imagine will be a special teamer, or he's not going to be any use on game day, but that's to be determined. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are played, with the largest selection of odds on everything from MLB, NHL, and UFC. Even the Kentucky Derby and NFL season futures are ready for you to bet. In between games, head over to BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. Next pick, Whyay Black from Iowa. I like this one. He is massive. He is well proportioned. He's not a big fat guy. He has crazy long arms, huge hands. I assumed he was nose only, but he played most of his snap in the B gap, between the guard and tackle as a 3 technique type. He is not an up the field 3 technique type, but whenever they put the Steelers' Carl Dunbar on the podium, they said, oh, he's going to play all over. He's not just a nose. Okay. I mean, his style of play, though, is engulf the run. He offers little as a pass rusher except for taking the guy in front of him and trying to drive him back. Now, I think there's some ability there, but he's not a great change of direction athlete. I mean, he is what he is, and it's what they need. It is size, it is power, it is physicality, it's brute force. He's a pretty simple evaluation, to be very honest with you. And I think that teams well with Harmon. I think it teams well with the guys they have. I think it frees up Benton to do some things. So I don't think we have to spend a lot of time on this guy. I mean, he is what he is. Plug and play at that position, bats down a lot of passes. He is big and plays big. Will Howard from Ohio State was another guy I was asked about a lot. What do you think about Will Howard in the third? Much like his teammate, Buckeye. No, he's not a third-round pick. He's not a great passer of the football. He's not a great arm talent. He doesn't drive the ball. Some of his deep throws, his arm strength throws will die a little bit on him. But the rest is a lot to like. And before the draft, I compared him kind of like Garrett was Aikman's backup. Reich was Kelly's backup. And they both turned into head coaches. And I've said Will Howard to me is a long-term backup with, other than arm power, good traits. He's a big, strong, sturdy guy. He's a better athlete than you probably think. Very good from the neck up. Kills the blitz. Makes a lot of big-time throws. Throws over the middle, which, by the way, is an Arthur Smith thing. It's not... The reason they throw over the middle is because Russell Wilson can't see, not because Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin don't want to. And yes, he was surrounded with ridiculously good talent. But he led his team to the national title, and I look at him as a long-term backup. I didn't love it because I thought, they have Rudolph, but I love it in the 6th round. I wouldn't have loved it in the 3rd or the 4th, but in the 6th, yes, absolutely. And why I mentioned like Kelly and Reich, Aikman and Garrett, those type of things are, he might be a really, really good caddy for next year's 1st-round pick, who I hope is Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's been with the team one more year. He might be a future head coach. I mean, that's the kind of cerebral guy he is. And he might be the perfect caddy for the guy that is the talented golfer. You know what I mean? So I'm cool with it. And we all know they're going to take 4 guys to camp. They only had 2 when they made the picks. Now they have 3. I do assume, by the way, being down there, Aaron Rodgers will be number 4. And I like that quarterback room. I would not expect Will Howard to be active on game day, but I would expect him to play a ton in the preseason. I'm going to sort of lump Carson Bruner, linebacker, Washington, and Dante Kent, Central Michigan corner, together, both 7th-round picks. I lump them together because they're all about special teams. Of course, Carson Bruner is Mark's son, who is in the facility and is a scout. Not only is he a former Steeler, and boy, they do this a lot. Hayward, Porter, et cetera, et cetera. They say they didn't draft him because he's Mark's son, but I find it pretty curious that of the 32 teams he landed, it was in Pittsburgh. He was projected to go in the 6th, 7th round, so that's not crazy. But if you didn't draft him, I bet you'd have an inside track to sign him as an undrafted free agent. A little bit undersized, as you could imagine, smart, tough, son of a player, son of a scout. Not real gifted, a little on the leaner side. I mean, his body's not super impressive, thinner lower body. I really don't think they need an off-the-ball inside linebacker at all. I mean, they're pretty loaded there. But between him and Mark Robinson, you should get really good special teams play. One of them might be on the practice squad. And heck, it's the 10th pick in the 7th round. Fine. I mean, I'm sure he won't embarrass himself. He'll be good for culture. He's not a bad player. I'm not making light of it just because he's Mark Bruner's kid. Dante Kent is someone from Central Michigan that I didn't know a lot about. But the more I study him, the more I like him. A little bit lean, smaller school. He's not super physically imposing. He's fast. He's a pretty good athlete. He's pretty sudden. He can run. He can change directions. He is slot and outside capable. I think we're going to have to see him in person at the NFL level to see which he settles in at. And that has a little bit of an Eccles feel to it to me. But especially more than any of this stuff is special teams. I mean, he has a punt return background. I think he'll be right in the mix as one of the best gunners on the team and run down on kickoffs and that type of thing. And I wanted them to draft a corner. And he does have some man coverage skills. They played a lot of cover 2 at Central Michigan. So not high expectations, but I kind of raised an eyebrow in a good way the more homework I did on Kent. So maybe there's something there of value. So day 3 was good. Not great. It was good. I would say Black was my favorite pick. Howard. Sawyer's fine. I would have probably went a different direction there. I would have preferred that to been an O-lineman. They didn't draft an O-lineman. That kind of shocked me. They didn't draft a receiver. Didn't really shock me, but fine. I can live with that. It was a little high for an edge, but I think I explained what their thinking was on it. And I'm sure they had a pretty high grade on Sawyer. So there you have it. Day 3 was fine. I was very happy with day 1 and day 2. And that's a wrap. I am done for now. I probably won't record anything tomorrow. And then we'll start really digging into more specifics of this class. And it wouldn't shock me. Maybe they sign a veteran sometime this week. You'll see a lot of that around the league right now. Veteran free agents that fill in some gaps post-draft. That's going to be pretty common in the next couple weeks or so, including probably the Steelers. All right, everyone. Good draft day. Good. Let's prepare for next year. Over and out.